Pike's pushed more and far enough ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah,
It's all about the entertainment.
So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Coming down to
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it! They haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening or afternoon, depending on what you want to call it. We have returned with the iFormula League Season 6 F3 Series Round 6 from Monza. I am James Parfitt, going to be joined in the booth by Kelsey, Gill, and we are at the mighty Red Bull Ring. 4.28 kilometres here, and it's going to be an interesting one. They have got 28 laps for their feature. 7-lap top 12 invert for race 2. They've got 1 fast repair and 50% fuel for race 1, which will mean they will have to complete a pit stop. The current scores on the doors are this. It is Alex Johnson out in front on 230 points with Lee Aberdeen on 167. Then you got Kevin Veermont from the Mecca Esports team on 134. Andre Zalander on 126. Jake Potts on 125. Then you've got Roman Ratu on 122. Kevin Zwemstra on 108 with Rachel Jimenez on the same score. Then you've got Victor Solano on 96, Tygo Kriegsman on 95, Mackenzie Roon on 94 in 11th. Baccaris Villius on 91, Alexander Rivera in 13th on 85, and Darius Rakauskas on 84 there as well. Your top 14 currently here at the moment. The schedule, as you can see, we are at the Austrian Grand Prix, and on October the 1st we go to Spain, where we tackle Catalonia for the Spanish Grand Prix. So make sure you write this one down and stay tuned here as well, because it's going to be a very exciting next few rounds where we decide the champion. But let's bring Kelsey Gill into the booth with me. Kelsey, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, James, and good evening, everybody in the chat as well. Hello, Ria, already in sharp and early as well. We're in Austria, of course, a scenic racetrack with a little bit of everything for you. It's got fast corners, slow corners, and medium corners as well, and it should make for some great racing to boot, and it's made for a fairly decent qualifying as well. There's been a few names at the top of the leaderboards already. Lee Aberdeen, Kevin Zwemstra, the usual crowd, and I think Alex Johnson might have a bit to work with this evening. He's got a big lead in the championship, but he's going to have his he's going to have his skills tested.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things here. We were talking off broadcast as well. You know, the off tracks, we know how tight they are here at the Red Bull Ring. So, you know, they're going to have to be careful. One slip of turn going wide in turn one, they're going to have an off track. One out coming out of Remus, which is effectively turn 3. Don't worry, we can count, but they do class corners that really are not a corner here as turn 2. And then we're going off round Slosh Gold as well, which is where we are currently on track. They've got to be a little bit careful. There isn't a lot of room. You know, they say 2 wheels over the white line here, but you put 2 wheels over the white line, you could end up with a slowdown or at least an incident 1x because of how tight they are. This is one of the tightest tracks. Now the problem is they can do that on the exit of Worth, which is what Rachel Jimenez has just done, and it doesn't label as an off track. Now if you come down into Rin and do the same thing, you are off track. And then you come around the last corner, you run like that, you are off track. So they've got to be careful all the way through of the off tracks here, I think, Kelsey, because it's going to cause them a bit of a problem.
Yeah, some people will call this the track limits Grand Prix, and in some sense, because it is something that affects the racing quite a bit. But in my research, there's a few places where you can take a few liberties. I mean, the areas to watch out for are sort of turns 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. If you know which corners are on about, and of course depending on how you look at the corners around this circuit, it's about 8 to 10 corners depending on what we're looking at, but 10 is the official if you look at every track map we're seeing. But it tends to be sticking to keeping the wheels at least on the green and white in a lot of the areas, but it's a very slim margin, and I think we're going to see some off tracks throughout this event.
Yeah, I reckon as well. I think we could be in for some nice little slowdowns here for people who are not expecting them. Let's bring you up the grid for race 1. It's going to be Lee Aberdeen out in front with Kevin Zwemstra in second. It's an all Alcantech 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in fact, with Andre Zalander there as well. Kevin Vimont in 6th, Mackenzie Roon 7th, Thomas Siros is in 8th, 9th is Victor Solano, Darius Rakauskas in 10th, Rachel Jimenez in 11th, and Alexander Shana is in 12th. Randolph Smith in 13th. Then we got Vitaltas Juliavicius in 14th. Thomas Urbanonas in 15th. Carlos Navarro rounds out this 16-car grid. An all-Alcantech front 5. You know, it kind of lends to the fact, Kelsey, that they're probably quite strong here.
Oh yeah, very strong here, and some very close competition between the Alcantechs, and we've seen them be at the front in almost race after race after race, and I think the only driver who's really got up to challenge is Kevin Vimont toward the front. He's in amongst them in the championship at the moment, but we're just getting ready for lights out. This should be an enthralling evening of racing.
Yeah, it is here as well. Hello, big thanks for the broadcast. I am Go Mecha Esports and Thomas Siros. So we're just waiting for Lee Aberdeen and Alex Johnson to get on the grid. We are sitting with second place man at the moment here. Lee Aberdeen has just got on to the grid now. Where is Alex Johnson? He hasn't got long, mind you. There he is on the grid, and you can see an Alcantech top 5 here. Now the lights are going to be out. We're going to be counting them down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are green here for the round 6 of the Red Bull Ring. And it is Lee Aberdeen, Zwemstra, Johnson here, Wojciech, Zalander, as they were. As you can see, Aberdeen and Zwemstra going off there. There's an accident at the back. That's Alex Johnson. He's gone flying off down the order. And I can guarantee he's probably spun on the exit of 1. But Lee Aberdeen is under pressure from Kevin Zwemstra on that run up into Remus now. Zwemstra's on the inside. Is he going to be able to make it through? he's not. What about Wojciech and Zalander? They stay as they are as well. In fact, Zalander did lose that place, and Wojciech is taking him down on the run down into Slosh Gold. He's going to have the inside line. Mackenzie Roon also coming right up behind him as well. Is Wojciech going to throw it up the inside? Is Zalander going to have a go? He's pushed Wojciech out, and Zalander has gone through. It's now Mackenzie Roon. They're going to be free wide coming round now. As you can see them there in front of you on the screen. Into Roush they go. It's been a very interesting opening here, Kelsey, but Mackenzie Roon's trying to make places up, and poor old Wojciech is back where he started in fourth.
Yeah, there's been some great brawling in amongst the top drivers here at the minute, and some great fights in the midfield too. And we've seen it looks like Johnson's got an awful run off. We're interested to see what happened to him exactly. It gets tight on the exit of one, so it's no surprise that something's happened there as some drivers run wide. Here we go. Here's the replay from Johnson's perspective. Coming in towards turn one now, coming around the corner. He's got nowhere to go with the two drivers in front of him. Let's see. I think he has some contact with one of his fellow Alcantech drivers, and he goes spinning, lucky to keep out of the wall. Let's get a better look on the helicopter shot. It looks like who's that going down the inside? I think just clipping the outside wheel, the right rear wheel of that car, and wow. Johnson will not be too happy with that, but it looks like he's gained some places after some pit stops.
Yeah, looks like Wojciech may have had something to do with that. I'm going by the helmet colour, of course, for the Alcantech boys, but Rachel Jimenez and Darius Rakauskas have just swapped positions. Jimenez running down the inside now. Can Jimenez get this position away? He's coming into the right-hander. He's going to drop down now. I think Rakauskas is going to run round the outside for that locals team, Lumos E-Motorsport. There, Rachel Jimenez still got that outside line. If they're going to run too wide, it's going to be very tight. Jimenez has got to tighten up, tucked in front, and gets the job done there as well. Great battling for Rachel Jimenez, great move, and is now up into 7th place.
Yeah, that was some great track presence from Rachel Jimenez there. She didn't back out. She had held the outside line and then cut back onto the racing line nice and neatly. Couldn't fit a piece of paper between the two of them, and Rachkauskas had no choice but to just sit in the diffuser of Rachel Jimenez's car and hold the position for now. But it's a great little bit of racing coming through turn 6.
Yeah, Rakauskas had problems and has dropped down into 11th. He has taken off track. What about Kevin Veermont and Rachel Jimenez with Alexander Shana and Thomas Siros? Siros was almost alongside Shana there, didn't quite make the move work, but unfortunately for Siros, he's got Julia Vicious and Rakauskas and Alex Johnson, who we know is recovering. Alex Johnson has made a move up past Rakauskas. Rakauskas sends it back up the inside. Johnson gets a little bit squirrely. He's going to try to cut back on this run down into Slosh Gold now. Can they manage to get this done? Johnson on the left, Rakauskas on the right. He is going to manage to hold on unless Rakauskas is going to run him around the outside here of Slosh Gold. He has done. Rakauskas made a mistake. Johnson now moving up to Julia Vicious here as well, and is going to try and run him around the entrance round Roush. Alex Johnson's on a bit of a mission.
Yeah, he is, and it's a bit hard to go around the outside there. I mean, Rachel Jimenez did it, but she had a lot of space from the car behind her, so she was able to just nimbly go around the outside, and Johnson had a bit more work to do, and he's coming now down as they go towards turn 9. Side by side they go through this high speed couple of corners. Alex Johnson's got that inside line, and he's got the job done. I think he's going to close out. Oh, there's contact between the two local cars.
Yeah, Thomas.
What's happened there?
I think that was Thomas Urbanones. I think, I've got to be honest, I think it was. He goes on the grass. I saw him go up in the air here as well. Did it? Oh, okay. Or was that Rakauskas that went up in the air? It was Rakauskas.
I think it was Rakauskas, yeah.
Oh, no. Darius Rakauskas up in the air here. Was that Julia Vicious with him? It was Julia Vicious and Rakauskas both making it out. Never first rule of racing it, Kelsey. Don't take out your teammates. And unfortunately for them guys, they have done just that. Unfortunately for Rachel Jimenez, Alexander Shana's on the inside, just about to make it work. Through Slosh Gold he goes. And now Shana is in front front of Jimenez. What's happening up here with Zalander and Wojciech? Wojciech, of course, been involved. I think he was the one involved in that incident with with Alex Johnson, sorry. It wasn't Aberdeen, it wasn't Zwebstra. I think it was Wojciech, purely because of his helmet colour was yellow, and he is the only one out the Alcantech team with the yellow helmet. So very tough there.
Yeah, I think it was, and it was unfortunate, really. I think it could have been a little bit better from Vrolik to aim to not hit the back of Johnson's car, but it's one of those things. It's turn 1 Austria, and I think the stewards may have a little look at that, perhaps, to try and determine if there's anything worth penalising there. But it's Vrolik looking to the back of Zalander, the lone member of the Alcantech NHR by MW Racing at the front, left the fight amongst the free cars of the Alcantech by Nyman Racing, and it looks like Vrolik's got himself ahead in towards turn 3 and has got the road ahead of him to go catch up to his teammates.
Yeah, he definitely has. There's action further back. You see here Alex Johnson and Alex Shana. Johnson is the number 1 Alcantech. Shana in the 45. Johnson's gone and dived him up the inside. He is going to make it through, I think. Johnson over Shana gets the job done. What about Urbanonez and Rakauskas? Again, all 3 locals are at the back of the field. Thomas Urbanonez, Darius Rakauskas, and Mahula Vicious is also at the back as well here, Kelsey. It's been tough for the locals teams, but we've still got 23 laps.
Yeah, if they can stop making contact with each other, I think they can definitely get themselves back into this race. Just get your heads down. There's still a long way to go, about 23 laps or so left. We're only on lap 5, just about to complete it. So just get your heads down, keep out of each other's way, and try and race the others. And it looks like that's Alexander Shana is coming under some pressure now.
He's got Thomas Siros closing in, using that draft. Siros has got to make his run out of 1. He's got to get the better exit because it will allow him to get the run up the hill into Remus. You can see in front Johnson and Jimenez. Johnson is on the defense. Jimenez on the defensive. I don't think it's quite defensive enough, and Johnson does make it through. What about Siros? Can he hold on to Shana? He's got to try and close it right up as close as he can by the time he gets into Schlossgold. And look, maybe up the inside of Roush or Worth on the exit there on the run down into Rin. He's just got to get it stopped here as well. Shana there, you can see a little bit of a mistake. You saw Jimenez going off for a blink there as well. So Jimenez is getting a little bit of an issue with the internet. She's back on and out and on and out. But for Thomas Siros at the moment here, he's really got to stay as close as he possibly can to Shana to make that move out of turn 9 or 10, the last corner, of course, to be able to get him on the run up into 1.
Yeah, he's going to be sticking behind for now, just keeping an eye on the car ahead of him, trying to spot those areas where he's making mistakes. And if you're going to make a move up in towards turn 3, it's all about exit on that first corner. You've got to be committed. You've got to carry as much speed as you possibly can as you exit, because he's going to give you the best run up the hill. Can he do it on this occasion? Let's see. Braking around the 100-meter board. It's uphill, so you can brake that little bit later, and maybe could have taken a bit more speed through there. Doesn't seem to be closing as much as he would need to.
Yeah, Navarro's just lost a place to Rakauskas down in turn 1, and here Darius Rakauskas from that locals auto sport team. We did discuss before here as well, Kelsey, who was going to be the first.
Very close.
Very late move from Rakauskas there. That was almost braking zone material. I kind of don't really agree that was an option. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it again here. He's got to stay where you are. You made your one move. You cut him back. Navarro surely got to look at trying to get the cut back. Too tight, young sir. You could have opened it up a little bit more and got on the exit there before they go into Roush. But yeah, for me, a little bit late from Rakauskas there. Oh! We're off. We're off. What? Exactly why did Julia Vicious do that?
I'm not sure there was a move there, James. I think Yasula Vicious has got a bit too antsy in the fight and has paid the price and has taken Navarro with him in that. I don't. It's.
Ooh, that's all you're gonna say. Ooh, that was late.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was late.
Yeah. Very late from Yasulevicius. I don't. You can go for moves like that, but you can't be going. That was Navarro's corner. 100% had the apex and everything, and I think, maybe caught out under braking was Yasulevicius, but it's on the car behind, as I've said before, to not make contact with the car ahead, and well, that's exactly what just happened.
It definitely did happen. So far, we have seen two sets of teammates take each other out. We've just seen another one who was involved in the initial team takeout literally send it late on Navarro and unfortunately put him out. Solano's out as well. We've just also had a notification that Alexander Shana has also had a moment on his own here, I believe. This is on the exit of Worth. I've got a funny feeling there's going to be a curb involved and he's going to do more pirouettes than a ballerina in Swan Lake, which is exactly what he did do. So, basic track, but not as easy as everyone thinks.
No, it's definitely not. You've really got to... There's a lot of places where you can get caught out under traction. Turn 3's exit being one of them. There's a nasty little bump there, actually, as you're going through the corner, which can catch you out, cause the rear end to snap out on you as well. When you saw there with Alexander Shana, he just got a little bit too much curb, tried to put the power down, and the car said, no, thank you, I'm not going to be going through that corner in a straight line. Managed to keep it out of the gravel, though, and out of the way of other drivers, so no huge calamities, but it'll be a setback for Shana. But we watch as Vrolik is chasing down Solander still. It looks like these drivers have swapped places again, so the two Alcantech teams still fighting amongst each other, while Vrolik's teammates lead the way in positions 1 and 2.
Yeah, they do, and Aberdeen's opening up 2.7 over Kevin Zwemstra. Zwemstra's got another 4.6 over Zalander. Vrolik here as well in 4th is, as you can see, really, really close to Zalander, and Rune has just broken the second mark to both of these drivers. So Mackenzie Rune is looking more comfortable at the moment at 18. Basically, we've got 18 laps and a pit stop remaining. Now, this is, you're talking overcut, undercut territory. We get to lap 14. We're about 50% through the distance here, Kelsey. And at the end of the day, that's probably round about the area that we should start seeing pit stops.
Yeah, here we go. Some action once again. Vrolik's looked around the outside and he's got that done pretty easily, actually. I don't think there was too much of a defence coming from Solander. But yeah, we're entering into the territory of pit stops now, and it's a relatively short pit lane around here, although it's definitely not the shortest by all means. So, and the nature of this track allows for drivers to be grouped up in little sections or little trains like that you see now, and so you get sort of, if you're sort of coming out for an undercut, you're probably going to find yourself caught into traffic and into little battles as well, and you can find yourself perhaps losing some time as well. So you've really got to be careful when you're coming in for your stops. But because of the short nature of the lap as well, the undercut actually isn't as powerful as you might expect it to be. But I may eat my words here as well. I'm not akin to driving these Formula 3 cars, but from my experiences in a Formula 1 car, that's certainly been the way.
Yeah, it definitely has as well. You can see the pit lane on the right hand side. You saw where the entrance was. If you didn't, Rakauskas will give us a nice little view as we start running around Rin. The second to last corner is on the right hand side. You've got to look for the entrance. You've got to start now. There's the entrance there, and that is where they've got to pin this, Kelsey, and got to try and get in there. The problem is if you're going in with somebody right behind you, they need to know you're going in, otherwise you are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it can really catch you out if you're going in, because the pit lane's on the racing line. So once you're going in, you can't really cross over that line. And if you're the driver behind and you're close behind, you can get caught out, and it can cause a bit of a calamitous incident. Here is Solander though. Is he fending off a driver? Yes, he is. I think that's Rune behind.
He's fending off Mackenzie Rune as best he possibly can here. I'm just a little bit worried that he's going to be under immense pressure, and unfortunately I don't know if he's going to be able to get this done. But let's see if he can for Mackenzie Roone. Roone's been flying. You can see Zolander's clearly got an issue. He's losing time here as well. What happened actually to Vrolik? He went off the track. Oh, yeah. He's gone round on the one. Gone round on turn one. The solid sausage curb on the outside. Unfortunately, he's dropping him down. Now Zolander's under pressure from Roone. He thinks he might have just got rid of Wojciech here. And now he's got Roone for company as well.
He's traded one car for another here, and Roone is all over the back of him. I reckon we're going to see a move coming in towards turn number 3. I think they're coming down to, yes they are, that's turn 2 there. This is 3, and around the outside goes Roone. It's going to be the inside line for the Alcantech car. Side by side they go, still side by side on the exit. Now they run down. It's a drag race all the way down towards turn 4. Who's got the better traction out of the corner? I think it's Roone. He's got himself past Zolander, who's now going to switch to the outside and try and go all the way around Roone in the 141 car. But Roone keeps onto the racing line, shuts the door and says, this is my position.
Yeah, he didn't have much choice there, Zolander, did he? Roone opened up the steering going into Slosh Gold, made Zolander think about what he's got to do, and unfortunately for Zolander, he fought too long and hard. There was enough room there though. Roone did give him enough room, but there was unfortunately a little bit hesitant from Zolander, and when you're hesitant, you lose out. He who hesitates loses. And unfortunately for Zolander there, I think he hesitated a little bit too much going around that outside line of Slosh Gold, and has just lost the position to Roone anyway.
Yeah, we said this about Zolander a lot throughout the season. I think he's just lacked that little bit of pizzazz that his teammate seems to have, that little bit of confidence behind the wheel that that Johnson seems to have while he's in his Alcantech car. And if he can just get that out of him and push and maybe get his elbows out a little bit more often, he could find himself actually defending places easier, gaining places easier as well. And talking about Johnson, he's lurking in the background, James. You can just see him in the background of each of the shots as we keep going around, and he could see this fight going on amongst them. So if they keep fighting as they have been, as it looks like Zolander's going to perhaps try and set up a move again, doesn't quite get close enough, dips a wheel onto the grass there, but if they keep fighting, it's going to invite Johnson into the fray, and it might bring him back into the question in this top 5 fight.
Yeah, definitely. You see Johnson's lap times there as well. He's pulled out a chunk of time on lap 12, 1.4 seconds over Zolander and probably Roone in front of him. So for Zolander now, he's got to determine whether or not, Kelsey, this is the best way. Is it better to fight Roone, or is it better to sit there and open up the gap? And me personally, he took that too tight. That's going to be an off. Down he goes. He's got to hold it on here as well. Try and keep it as best as he can. Let's see what Zolander does in conjunction with Johnson. Zolander's lap time 1:24.23. Johnson another 2 tenths quicker. Not as much as on lap 12, but Johnson is coming.
Yeah, he is. These two are fighting, and I think we're going to see some more of it there. Roone was just defending the inside. He was a bit scared of an attack to the inside of 1. Not the best place to go for a move, but you certainly can if you're brave enough. There's Roone planting his car in the middle of the track. That's some great defensive driving. You could see Zolander didn't know where to go. He looked to the inside, looked to the outside, and just stuck it back onto the racing line to try and get a better exit. But it looks like Roone is doing some great defensive driving to keep this Alcantech car behind, and it's just going to keep inviting Johnson ever closer.
Yeah, Johnson, you can see in sector 1 was a tenth and a bit quicker there. Let's see where they're going to break the time in round 2. It's just out of the exit of Rausch, which is his left-hander. They do end up going around the bull. If you look, I don't know if you can actually see it from that camera angle. No, I'll try and find a better one. And he's just going to break the timing board now. Johnson half a second quicker in sector 2. Johnson's gap now 1.6 seconds. So as much as Zolander's trying to give him a go here, Mackenzie Roone, unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it work. Mackenzie Roone is actually in the pits. That's freed Zolander now. So maybe we can see what Zolander can do.
Yeah, it might be. He's got some open space now. There's less dirty air affecting the car in front of, his car. So it's going to be different. But I think Roone might spark some pit stops now. He's the first to come in, I think. I'm not sure if anybody else from further back has come into the pits.
No.
But Rune trying for an undercut, perhaps, which may or may not work. We're yet to see it.
Well, Rakowska, Shana, Julia Vicious and Navarro, but of course they were all involved in the incidents here as well. Obviously, Rakowkas and Julia Vicious both on the same team making contact with each other. So, yeah, not ideal scenario. Jimenez trying to get onto the back of Rolik here as well. Thomas Siros has just had a crash. Unfortunately for Thomas Siros, he has just had a crash. And this is on that run coming out of Remus, hit the curb, and away he goes. Easily done.
Just dips wheels onto that sausage curb, disrupts the car as it's coming through, and round he goes. We've seen it already once, and it's happened again, and it's very easy to do. Those sausage curbs are lethal. You want to avoid them at all costs, because with how light these Formula 3 cars are, any drastic bumps like that are going to unsettle them, especially out of that first corner. As Rachel Jimenez into the pits now.
Jimenez in. Rolik carries on. Vermont as well. Where is Mackenzie Rune in all this? I think he's going to jump Jimenez here as Mackenzie Rune runs very, very wide. Jimenez will be on our right-hand side. Rune is going to take that position away from Jimenez. So Jimenez still in the pits and down into ninth. She's on her way out now. Thomas Urbanonaz has also just gone through. Again, Mackenzie Rune here, is the first man to have a pit stop. Everybody else in front, nothing there at all. So going to be interesting for the last 12 laps. Pit stops are definitely going to be incoming.
Yeah, they are. They've really eaten away at these laps in this race. It's such a short lap around here that it's lights out, and then suddenly you're halfway through the race and drivers are pitting, and then all of a sudden it's the last lap. But Rune, what's important here is he's got clear space. He hasn't come out in any traffic. He hasn't got any drivers around him, either behind or in front. So he's able to just focus on putting the lap times in and just driving as hard as he can in order to try for that strategy to work and try and get some positions on those ahead of him. I don't think he'll be able to jump the likes of Lee Aberdeen or Kevin Zwemstra, but he may be able to get himself in the mix for that final place on the podium, or perhaps P4.
Yeah, we'll see where Rune comes in. Siros is in. Alex Johnson's in as well. Now for Mackenzie Rune, he really needs to clear at least Johnson. They're going to be running side by side here, I feel, when they're coming out of turn one. Because there is Mackenzie Rune, there is Alex Johnson. Rune's coming into turn one. Johnson's on his bike already. So Alex Johnson did manage to overcut Mackenzie Rune there. And now Johnson is the lead man in with the pit stops. Me personally, I wouldn't put it past Johnson to win this race.
Yeah, certainly. He's come out in a good place. And like I said, it's hard to make an undercut work around here, and that's just proof of it. Johnson came out with at least a corner between himself and Rune. What is the gap right now? It's 3 seconds, James, between Rune and Johnson. So it's just how much time. Well, it's just evident how much time you lose in the pit lane.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it here as well with that downhill pit lane. They've got to make sure they get it right. And I think that's some of the problems here. We'll try and see if Vermont... Nope, Vermont doesn't do it. What about Vrolik? No, he doesn't do it. I know Johnson's not going to. Rune's not going to. I think it might be Thomas Urbanonaz here as well. Let's see if we can get a pit lane entry on camera, and I'll show you what it means. It drops down to the right. So they're coming into the corner already plummeting down a hill. So they've got to be a little bit smart. Let's see if Urbanonaz... Nope. What about Randolph Smith? Nope. This is not going well. Unfortunately, that's it. Of people there who are possibly in the bit for a pit stop. But we'll see if we can find somebody when they do start plummeting in. Lee Aberdeen, the Australian, of course, here, Kelsey. Not really seen much of him. He got out in front. He got it off the grid. He's where he started in the lead, and he's just done a stellar job.
Yeah, he has. He's got a big gap as well. It's 6.3 seconds to Kevin Zwemstra, who's just behind him, his teammate, of course. And then I've just been looking at the gaps in terms of strategies for those yet to pit out in the lead as well. And it's you lose about half a second in the pit lane around here, if my research is correct. So it looks like Lee Aberdeen will be safe from Johnson. The gap between himself and Johnson is about 40 seconds. So it looks like if Aberdeen was to pit now, he'd come out just ahead of Johnson, about 10 seconds up the road.
Definitely. Pit limiters on already for Vermont. Saw out there how they had to go into the pits there. It's a very fast exit. Entrance into the pit lane, so they've got to be smart. What about Alex Johnson and Mackenzie Roon? Are they both going to take this position away from Vermont? I'd be very surprised if they don't, to be honest, as we go into the last 9 laps of the race. 1:23.37 here from Lee Aberdeen. That's his best time, and I believe, I'm looking now, but that is the fastest lap overall.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eyes on these gaps. There's a lot of them to keep an eye on, but it doesn't look like Johnson's really pulling away all that much from Roon. It's sitting at about 1.4 seconds between the two, and actually Johnson doesn't seem to be catching the drivers ahead of him all that much either. It's still around 40 seconds, that gap to leader, and it's around 16 seconds or so, but of course there'll be tyres, and it looks like Aberdeen and Zwemstra are both in. So they finally pulled the trigger on that one. Will that promote Solander into the lead, or is he going to come in? No, he's in the pits as well.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do, especially when you've got the charging Alex Johnson in 5th. You've got clean air, get it over and done with. Roger Vrolik is in the pits as well. It's whether or not Vrolik can get out in front. Pit lane time about 36.5 seconds. Total stop time 6.6. Lee Aberdeen is out. Zwemstra's still there. Zwemstra's on his way out as well. What's happening with Zalander? Zalander needs to get a move on out of this pit lane, and he is moving now. Is he going to be moving fast enough to stay in front of Alex Johnson? He has. Andre Zalander managed to hold on. Mackenzie Roon, Kevin Vermont get past Vrolik and Rachel Jimenez, and Thomas Urbanonez is the man in the pits now as well. So a couple of jumps there. Zalander doing a great job to hang on here, but Vrolik from the Architect NHR, not so great. As I say, he went down the order past Mackenzie Roon, Kevin Vermont, and Rachel Jimenez not too far behind him here as well. Very interesting pit stop cycle.
Yeah, it has been. I think Johnson needs to make the most of those warm tyres right about now, as once Lander gets up to temperature, he might have a bit of a harder time catching up, but we know out of the 2 Architect teammates there that Johnson does hold the advantage over them. So are they going to race? I think Johnson can perhaps afford it. He's 63 points ahead in the championship, so he's not going to be losing out too much. But here we go. Look, it's Solander already coming under pressure from Johnson, and they're going to go side by side into turn 9. And I don't think Solander fought that as hard as he could. Johnson straight through.
I don't think Zalander put much of a defence up at all, to be honest. I think he may have just sort of said, off you go, son, thanks very much. Alex Johnson, after spinning out in lap 1, turn 1, is now in 3rd place from being right at the back.
Yeah, he is, and now he's got 9.3 seconds to Kevin Zwemstra up the road. But I think what Zalander was thinking was, I'll let Johnson through. I know he's faster because my race isn't with Johnson. It's actually with Roon, who is behind him right now. So there's a bit of a scrap going on for P4 here. It's Zalander and Roon continuing their fight from that first stint. And, well, Roon is closing in. He looks like to have the speed. It's an 8/10 gap. So keep an eye on Mackenzie Roon because he is flying out there.
Yeah, as the man from the US, of course, for the Intense Sim Racing team. Now down to 7, dropping all the way down to 7.5 temps. Is he going to go and drop that further? He's going to try. He has done that. Now down to 7 temps here for Mackenzie Roon. When do you think he's going to be overtaking him, this lap or the next one?
Oh, I don't know. I think he might have him if he's gonna, it's gonna all be depending on who can get that run out of turn 1, I think. But perhaps the next lap, I don't think he looks all that close enough. But I could be wrong here as we go through turn 10. Around now, is Rune going to get a good run? No, I think he's going to wait, set him up. Defensive goes Zalander. I think that's a bit of a mistake. He's defending thin air there. I don't think Rune was close enough, but just trying to break that toe, I think, as they go through. And I think Rune's got a much better exit. He was much tighter through there. I don't know if he's going to be close enough, though, as they run up the hill towards turn 2.
Mackenzie Rune closing in 3,100 there as well, and now he has dropped, getting even closer. He is coming, Rune. Zalander's gonna have to try and defend if he can do it best. I would probably do it now. You've only got 6 laps remaining as you are on lap 22 here. Down through Schlossgold we go. The F3s are putting on some action tonight here, Kelsey, and it's been a pleasure to watch so far.
Yeah, it's an epic little shot, this, of the chasing Rune on the back of Solander's car there. These two have not let up all race long, and just from riding on board with Rune, you can just tell by the body language of the car that Rune just seems that little bit more comfortable. He seems so much smoother through the exit of 3 and so much smoother through a lot of the other corners as well, whereas Solander, I wouldn't say he's losing control of the car, but he looks just that little bit more out of shape from Rune, and that's the difference is. It's those fine margins that make it up in motorsport, where over one driver to another. And there we go again, Solander just going defensive, perhaps parking it in the middle, then back over to the racing line, and just watch as they go through. What's Solander going to do through this corner? Again, he looks to take a later apex than Rune, and Rune just closes in on the car ahead of him as a result. And you'll see the same again into turn 3. There's a lot of different lines you can take, but there's some that are faster than others.
Yeah, there definitely is. Let's try and stay and get the power on as early as he can. Does Rune with Zalander in front of him. He's got to try and make some inways on that half-second gap as they go round into Schlossgold. I think it's going to be a Roush and Worth battle here, depending on how close Rune can get. And let's see how he can get as they go round the ball. You can see at the bottom of your screen there, that is the famous Redbull ball, I suppose. That works. Charging ball, yeah. But Rune's definitely closing here now, Kelsey. He's got 4 tempers.
Yeah, he is. He's looking much more comfortable in that car than Solander is, and I think it's only a matter of time. But I mean, the time's running out though. It's only the 25th lap of this race, so he's 23rd even. Couldn't quite see from the number in the top, but he'll definitely get a move on at some point. When is the question though, as Rune, I think he looks fairly content to sit behind for now and just keep an eye on what Solander's doing, and maybe he's watching out for a mistake perhaps.
Maybe a mistake might benefit him, more than trying to overtake him, because we know Zolander's obviously no slouch when it comes to being overtaken. He will make it as hard as he possibly can, and at the end of the day, that's all on Rune to find a gap in, isn't it? And now it's just trying to make sure Rune can find it.
Yeah, and I think Solander's doing well under the pressure, actually. He's definitely keeping Rune at arm's length. He's not quite inviting him into striking distance just yet. He's just keeping him there. These two are just sussing each other out. It's all about that psychological game between drivers. You're always trying to suss each other out while you're going hundreds of kilometers an hour, and it's such an enthralling part of the sport, and especially at a circuit like this where it's not exactly a street circuit where you're being cautious of the walls, but the racing is always going. You're always going at fairly high speeds, attacking corners and ensuring that you're not making those mistakes in those key areas.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about here for Mackenzie Rune. The last thing he really wants is to give himself a slowdown or anything else that's going to cause him a problem. It's got to be looking at going on. You're on 25. You've only got 3 to go here for Rune. And can he break back into that half-second gap, though, Kelsey, because he's drifted out to 9 tenths?
Yeah, it's going to be about keeping that gap as small as possible and just staying within the distance to come in. He's closing again, getting into the slipstream of Solander ahead, but it's not closing in too much. I'm just keeping an eye on some other gaps as well. It looks like Johnson is not really catching Zwemstra as much as he could. The gap is about 8.3. He's only closed about 0.8 of a second in the last couple of laps, so I don't think Zwemstra or Aberdeen are going to be coming under much pressure for now. And he's actually lapping slower as Johnson, at least 2 ahead of him, because I think, Lee Aberdeen's got your fastest lap of a 23.3 at the moment, as far as my timing board is telling.
I'm wondering though if Johnson's hit his plateau of where he can go now. Don't forget he had the incident at the turn one, lap 1. You know, I think is he now hit that plateau where he's been pushing so much, he's burnt the tyres out and they're just becoming pretty much useless.
Yeah, I think so. I think he has actually gained a little bit on Zwemstra under the last lap, and is actually lapping just that tiny bit faster. As he actually just steals, doesn't steal fastest lap, but he sets a 1:23.7, so he gets himself in there on that last attempt. I think that's his fastest lap of the session so far. But he has hit a bit of a plateau, perhaps just used a bit too much of the tyres, and I think just with the laps left, it's not too many. It's a bit too much of an ask unless there's a big mistake from the top 2 ahead. But he's so far ahead in the championship that he can afford to just sit there and drive and just go around, and he doesn't have to worry. He just doesn't have to win the race. He just has to keep scoring a decent amount of points to make sure that if there is any deficit in the coming rounds, that he can cover that off.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the things for Johnson. He knows where he's at, right? And he can read the website as much as the rest of us. So I think at the end of the day, he's going to be able to settle there. One of the things I want to touch on is this top 12 grid here. So at the moment, Randolph Smith and Alexander Shana are you going to be your front row? How are they going to cope with being at the front in this race? It's only a 7-lapper.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fast and furious racing for those 7 laps. It's going to be close. You saw the first few laps that the cars very close to each other. There's some action going on now. It's like Rune's finally putting on some pressure. Zalander felt the need to go defensive. I don't think Rune was thinking of a move there. He was just using that time to get close. Oh, Rune's gone! Oh, he was getting close and he's made a mistake on the exit of 1.
Was that a mistake, though? That's going to be the question. We can have a look back and see what Mackenzie Rune did. You can see him here coming into 1. Oh, yes. Sausage curb on the outside again.
That's
there we
the
go.
3rd time. Identical to the last 2 times as well. That's such a shame for Rune. He was running so well and he's dropped all the way down to P7 now.
Mackenzie Rune going to be kicking himself here as Veermont battling away with Vrolik here. Veermont in the inside, Vrolik on the out, and it is going to be Veermont is going to come over, try and cover off the nose of Vrolik. Vrolik manages to get it up the inside round Roush. Now he comes back at him and says, oh, thank you very much. Veermont with the undercut. He's got to go around the right-hander, the exit, and he didn't make it through there. They've swapped positions a couple of times, and I don't expect it to be the last time as we enter on to the final lap.
Yeah, great bit of side-by-side action there between those two. Vermont was looking for a way back through turn 9, but it just wasn't presenting itself to him. He'll stay close to the back of Vrolik if he can, to maybe try and challenge once again for that position, but there's only a little bit. I think we're on the penultimate or the last lap now, final lap. Yeah, those flags are out, so it's now or never for Vermont in the car number 14.
Yeah, but is it going to be now or is it going to be never? That's going to be the problem. It's got to try and make it through, Vermont. As your leader.
Good exit.
Yeah, he did get a great exit there as well, but it's whether or not he can make it stick, Kelsey.
Yeah, defensive is Vrolik as he go down towards turn 4, and he's just planted that car very well. Wasn't able to make the most. Was Vermont, and is just going to be forced to chase, but there's still a few corners left to go, and it looks like Lee Aberdeen is coming around the final couple of corners to complete this race.
Yeah, Lee Aberdeen comes over the line. He's going to take the checkered flag. He will win the first race at the Redbull Ring here this evening as well, with Kevin Zwemstra and Alex Johnson over the line there once more. So Zwemstra has already crossed. Here comes Johnson now.
There he comes across the line. Decent podium for Johnson's finished where he started after that spin as well. That's a champion's drive right there, James. Spun and just said, well, I'm just going to get as high as I possibly can and hold it. And he did.
Yeah, he definitely did. Rune comes over in 7th place there, unfortunately, for Rune. So it's been tough for some of the drivers, been tough for others in different ways, of course. Just wait for the guys to come over the line, and then we will bring you the results from race 1.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that Rune will be happy about is he'll be a lot higher than his rivals in the second race. If he can avoid any carnage in those opening laps, then he might be able to snatch a win here in that sprint race.
I do fully agree with you. I think Mackenzie Rune is just waiting for the day to say that he's gonna, win the race, as we're just waiting for Randolph Smith, the man in 12th, of course, who will be pole position for race 2. So let's see as he comes over the line. Everybody done and dusted. Here are the results for race 1. It is Lee Aberdeen out in front by 7.5 seconds over Kevin Zwemstra and Alex Johnson. In 4th is Andre Zalander, and then in 5th it is Rolik back. Top 5, Nyman Racing, Alcatech teams. Here once more, Kevin Vermont in 6th, Mackenzie Rune 7th, Rachel Jimenez in 8th, Thomas Siros 9th, Darius Rakauskas in 10th, Alexander Shana in 11th, Randolph Smith 12th, Thomas Urbanonez, Carlos Venaro, and Julius Vinicius round out the bottom of the grid here, Kelsey. So there we go. That is the end of round 1 as we go into a brief little warm-up before race 2.
Yeah, and it was some great racing there. I think that's going to set the stage for what the next 7 laps are going to be like. Those early laps is really what we're focusing on, where the drivers were all nice and close together. They were all sort of challenging each other, and that's what this track does, I think, James. It's a circuit that, when you're looking at it in qualifying, all of the times are very, very close. You've got a lot of the drivers who are within sort of a second of each other. I mean, the qualifying from this session is a good example. And if you look at, say, whenever Formula One come here, or perhaps other series of racing come here, the qualifying is always very close because it's such a short lap, and there's just such, I don't know, I guess it's just the lap times. It's the nature of the track just produces those lap times to be close to one another, and I think it does affect the racing. But if you can open up those gaps like Lee Aberdeen was able to, and just run your own race from that point, you can really make progress in this race. But I think we're going to be seeing, some hard racing, and I'm hoping as little contact as possible.
Yeah, me too. I think the thing is as well, 7-lap sprint race. Top 12 inverted. It's not going to come without problems, I think. I've got to be honest. I think those problems come from the fact that they've got no time, and the likes of Lee Aberdeen, Zwemstra have got to try and come back through the field. And it's going to be tough for people. It really will be.
Yeah, they do. And, I've raced a fair few sprint series in my time, and one of the things I've observed from the drivers who get the most success out of those is that they're patient. They don't go for the moves when they're not necessary. They're happy to sit back and say, right, it's a short race, but if I can be patient, if I can stay out of trouble, I can get myself high up the order. And I wouldn't say I'm the most patient driver. I do like to get involved in a scrap or two when I'm out on the track. But a good friend of mine is, I think he won himself 5 sprint championships for being a very, very patient driver and knowing what it is to win a championship. So if you can introduce that into your racing during a sprint race, then you can succeed, and that's what we want to see, because sprint races, they are a lot of fun, and if you get them right, then it's a great experience for a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think you're right. To be honest, I think you're right. The last thing you really want to do is go out right at the beginning of a 7-lap sprint. You know, they've got to be thinking a little bit more long term. It is 7 laps, but what they've got to realise is it's 7 laps of a straight corner, straight wiggly bit, straight corner, straight corner, straight. You know, there's a lot of straights there that they could be making moves on.
Yeah, exactly. And as much as it's cool to be a hero from P3 and dive up the inside of turn 1 on the first lap, you know, it's like I said last week, it's the race is not won on the first lap. It's won on that final lap when you cross the line. So you've got to be patient. You've got to take your chances in an intelligent fashion. And, you know, if you can do that, if you can be intelligent going at those speeds, then you can succeed on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that's going to be the thing, isn't it? Being intelligent and managing this sprint race. But let's see what happens here once more as we're going to be underway with this second race and final race of the evening. Don't forget, later on, guys, we have got the IGP F3. They are coming up here from Spa. That's their opening round of season 4, and they're on their 20-year anniversary. So well done to the IGP.
Yeah, well done, IGP. That's a big landmark to make, 20. Gosh.
Yeah, definitely. But here we go. Here is the grid. Randolph Smith on first, Shana second, Darius Rakauskas third, Thomas Siros fourth, Jimenez fifth, Mackenzie Rune sixth, Vimont seventh, Brolick eighth, Zalander ninth, Johnson 10th, Swemstra 11th, and Leah Aberdeen down in 12th. Then we've got Thomas Urbanonas, Carlos Navarro, Julia Vicious, and Victor Solano.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the last few on the grid. I'll be keeping my eye on the likes of Jimenez and Siros there, I think, in amongst that top group of drivers. But of course, you've got the faster ones coming through as well, so it should be a good race.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens here with the lights on as well. 3, 4, 5. And we are off and running, Kelsey.
Yeah, we are. It's off and racing around the Red Bull ring for the final time this evening, and there's some free wide action going on already. That's Jimenez trying to make a way through, and there's a big contact there as well. I think that's Randolph Smith. Oh, there's absolute carnage going into turn 1. They're all coming together. There's a big pile up. I think a lot of drivers have managed to find a way through there, but that's Smith really getting involved in the action. There's Mackenzie Runo, P2 already. Shana's already off up the road as they come in towards turn number 3. Now there's a lot of action going on between them as well. A little bit further back, I'm not sure who was making their way through, but that was a bit of a drastic opening lap, James.
Yeah, it definitely was. Randolph Smith, Rachel Jimenez, Rakauskas, Vrolic, and all involved in that incident. Shana there with a moment as well. Kelsey, it's all getting very interesting. People rushing, as I said they would, and now they're going to be struggling.
Yeah, I think a few brown pants there for the drivers behind who had just managed to avoid that side by side. Now it's Mackenzie Rune. He's under threat. It's Johnson. He's finally having himself a good sprint race. And Aberdeen's up there as well. Those two will be chasing each other as well. This is going to be a thrilling 7 laps of action. It's side by side they go. Mackenzie Rune's got that outside. Is Aberdeen going to sneak his way through the inside as well? I think he has. I think he's just got ahead. No, he's stuck behind Rune for the time being. And it's the 3 of them going along. And there's a train of cars coming. Who's that coming behind Aberdeen as well? I think that is Siros in. He's looking to the inside as they go down. It's keeping position now, but they're all close together. There's about 7 or 8 cars all within touching distance.
Yeah, Zwemstra and Jimenez and Zalander. Zalander is the last car in this train. This is 1 to 9. Alex Johnson with Rune. Rune's not giving up, but can Vermont hold on? Webster's just side by side with Julia Vicious. Vicious just gone off as well. I think Zalander's going to try and have a go at him once more on that run down into Schlossgold. Zalander can have the inside. Julia Vicious leaving it open. He is going to send it in late. is the lander. Jimenez trying to run around the outside as well. Malicious is being pushed out the way here, Kelsey. And it's been very close.
That was almost 3 wide as they went through there. That would have been tremendous. But Yasulovic is holding the outside, but I don't think he can do it. No, he is going to do it. He's going to go for the outside once again. Going to try and swoop down, try and get the power on as early as possible. But Zalander just getting his elbows out and keeping it. And now it looks like Jimenez is going to have a go at Yasulovic. Is coming into turn 9. And they're going to try and go 3 wide again, are they? They're trying to find a way through. Zalander is keeping that car planted on the track and keeping the 2 drivers behind them. Yasulovic is losing out to Jimenez though.
Yeah, Jimenez did sweep around the outside. I think Julio Vicious was a little bit further off the side of the circuit and did unfortunately lose that gap. What about Navarro and Urbanones? They're going side by side almost into turn 1, but we're on back with Jimenez and Julio Vicious. You just see them coming under the AlphaTauri bridge and they're coming directly at us here, Kelsey. This is only going to be an ongoing battle.
Yeah, it is. Jimenez trying to go defensive, keep that inside line. Yasulovic, he's gone wide. He's off the track. I think he's missed his braking point and is going to have to concede. As he knows he's going to continue this fight. They're going to continue to go side by side now as they go down towards turn 4. It's Rachel Jimenez and Yasulovic going side by side again as they go into turn 4. And I think it's Yasulovic's corner. He's going to go wider, go deeper and dip some wheels onto the gravel and lose out to Jimenez once again. He's not had the best run through that corner. What's going on at the front? It's Johnson. He's finally survived lap 1 of a sprint race and he's chasing after Vermont, who's in the lead. He's got Aberdeen for company as well. Mackenzie Roon is only just behind them as well. 4 cars all fighting over the lead. This is going to be some great racing. We got 5 laps or so left to go in this race. I think 4 perhaps as we're coming on to the end of lap 3. But it's Vermont leading the way. Can he defend from Johnson, who's charging his way towards the lead?
This in general is going to be very, very tough for Vermont. I know your Mecca, go, go, go. I can see it now. But he has got Johnson, he has got Aberdeen, and he has got Roon in this fight. And they are 2 names I would not want. As you see, Alex Johnson, job done, unless he's going to come back up the inside here. And I think Vermont's going to have a go on the run down into Schlossgold.
Yeah, I think that was a clever little move from Vermont, but I think Johnson's just got the overspeed to keep Vermont at bay, but he's going to go for it. He's going to look to the inside, compromise Johnson as well. That might invite Lee Aberdeen for a move down the inside as well, but Johnson's not backing out of this one. Vermont's got Johnson to the inside and Aberdeen's looking for a way through as well. Side by side again we go through turn number 6 and it looks like it's Johnson's corner and it's close between them. Oh, here comes Lee Aberdeen now down through turn 7. Great side by side racing for these 2. Can Vermont hold on to this one as they go? Mackenzie Roon's going to get involved in this as well. They're all so close together and slotting through goes Aberdeen to try and look to the inside as they go down towards turn 9. It's not 3 wide, is it? No, but Roon's going to try and go around the outside of Aberdeen. This is some absolutely fantastic racing.
Yeah, we're coming on to lap 5 now. Alex Johnson out in front. We've still got Vermont, Aberdeen and Roon tucked up right behind each other. Aberdeen's going to try and go up the inside of Vermont. We did say it was going to be tough, and it was tough. Is he going to be able to hold the Mackenzie Roon back now? Aberdeen's gone through. He needs some help from Zeros if he can get it. Zeros is in the background there, but Kevin Vermont doing an absolute stellar job trying to defend for his life. He's left the door now. Lee Aberdeen is a little bit open. Vermont's going to...
3 wide almost going through there again. These 3 really putting on a show for us in this sprint race. And it looks like Vermont's lost out to Roon now too. So he's going to try and come back perhaps. But Mackenzie Roon, he's going for some glory here. He wants some redemption after that first race. He's trying to get himself on the podium where he should have been. He's currently sat P3 as we go through, but it's calmed down a little bit now. They're all slotting in behind each other, but it looks like Roon's got some pace over Aberdeen. Aberdeen's going to finally get some racing done after a quiet race 1, but Johnson now out in the lead. He's got himself a 1.1 second gap. There's a few battles going on in amongst the pack as well, but this is the one we're focusing our attention on for now.
Yeah, we are. It's due to the fact that obviously Roon, Vermont and Aberdeen are still battling away. Can Roon get hold of these guys in front. Darius Rakauskas is trying to come up alongside Carlos Navarro, who of course had an incident with Rakauskas' teammate in race 1, Julia Vicious, who is just ahead of Thomas Sabonis.
Yeah, Rachkauskas is putting the pressure on now on Navarro. He's going to look to the inside of turn 1 as they go. I think that's job done. Navarro breaks that a little bit earlier just to invite Rachkauskas through and ahead. So some sensible racing there from Navarro, perhaps. There's a bit of switching going on ahead, is there? No, it's just some weird timing things going on the board. But yeah, great little move from Rachkauskas. He was able to just sneak through and I think force Navarro into breaking that bit early. Nice little battle between them. It's all calmed down now, and I'll say after lap 1 we've lost the likes of Randolph Smith, Alexander Shana, Craig Vrolik and Solano. Here is the first lap and there's 3 wide at that. That's never going to work really. I think contact between Jimenez and I think that was Rachkauskas sends him in towards the pole sitter of Randolph Smith to cause that contact. We'll see it again now from Rachel Jimenez's perspective. Look, 3 wide into 1 doesn't really work, does it, James, on lap 1?
No, she missed her breaking point, unfortunately, and well, that was the result. So, but let's pick up Alex Johnson as he's going to be coming over, taking the final lap of the race.
Yeah, he'll be happy that he's managed to survive all that carnage, and I think, you know what, this is going to go down as the best sprint race I've seen from iFL Formula 3 thus far, with so much excitement. Yeah, there was some lap 1 carnage, but that sometimes happens in motorsport, but there wasn't any too huge incidents to go through and comment on, and I think it's just been some incredible racing. These 3 coming through now have been all a part of it, and then don't forget about Kevin Vermont as well. He put up a staunch fight to fight them off, but these 3 are so fast out there behind the wheels of these Formula 3 cars that they deserve to be on the top 3 positions. It's Johnson and Aberdeen and Roon as I'm finding their way around turn 4.
Yeah, they are. For the final time coming into Roush and Worth now around that Red Bull they go, or the Bronze Bull. Does beg the question, should it be called the Bronze Bull Ring? Well, there we go. We don't really know the answer to that one, but I think at the moment here though, Kelsey, Alex Johnson is going to take this.
Yeah, he is. He's just got 2 more corners to navigate. He's finally found some redemption. After the last couple of sprint races, he's finally going to finish the race behind the car rather than not behind the, well, not in the lead. I'll stop rambling, but it's Johnson going to cross the line to win the sprint race here at Austria, and it's Aberdeen coming across the line in P2. Then there's Room just behind them to make up the podium. Then we're going to have Vermont crossing the line, closely followed by Siros as well. Then there's Andre Solander in P6. Then we're going to have, I think, I don't know if my timing's wrong. It's all a bit wrong.
Yeah, Rakauskas has just got over the line. So,
there we go. Everybody's gone. I'm a bit behind, I think. But yes, everyone's done.
Yeah, everyone is done. And here's the results for you, young sir.
Here we go then. So Alex Johnson, then the winner of the sprint race. He's flanked on either side by Lee Aberdeen and Mackenzie Roon on the podium. Then we got Kevin Vermont in P4 with Thomas Ziros rounding off your top 5. Then we have Andre Solander. Then there's Kevin Zwemster, Rachel Jimenez, Viatatus Yasulevicius, Thomas Yerbonus, rounding off the top 10. Then we have Darius Rachkauskas, Carlos Navarro, Randolph Smith, Shana, and Craig Vrolik not finishing the race there. And that's your results for the sprint race here at round 6 in Austria.
Yeah, it's been a very exciting evening there as well. And I think it's one that we can look forward to continuing, hopefully. That was a better sprint race, probably one of the better ones that we've seen, I think, Kelsey. I think that's the thing. You know, that there were issues in the sprint and it was all causing a bit of drama, but I think that's probably one of the better ones, if not probably the best one we have seen. And, you know, it's been an interesting one for everybody. You know, we'll go next week or 2 weeks' time off to Catalonia. That could be an interesting one here as well. And then we've got the American, the Canadian, the Northern, and the Brazilian Grand Prix. So I'll tell you what we can do. We can have a quick chat with Alex Johnson here, Mackenzie. I'll bring him, Kelsey, sorry. I'll bring him in for you to have a combo with.
Alex Johnson. Hello, welcome. It's let's talk about race 1 first, and then we'll comment on race 2. But race 1, it was a calamitous first lap, and then you fought your way through the field. You had some great pace going through. We were watching along as you were just cutting your way through the field. But just talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, once first of all, turn 1, that was on me. I can't even blame Silas on that, although I would like to. Jokes aside, but yeah, that one was on me. I told him, "Could you go up in smoke or something?" So yeah, totally on me. And then after that, obviously very good comeback. A bit frustrated that I missed out so much on Kevin, but yeah, it was what it was. I'm pretty happy with that one after all. Like it could have gone so much worse, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, I mean, coming from having a spin lap 1, coming from the back and getting yourself onto the podium, I don't think that's anything to complain about, in all honesty. And you've got such a lead in the championship that I don't. It's, winning all the time isn't what it is about. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it's nice to see, accepting the some of the blame on that incident. That's fairly a humble sort of thing to do. But we'll move on to race 2 now, and it was finally some good luck for you in the sprint race. You found your way toward the front fairly easily. I mean, you had to get your way past Kevin Vermont though, but it was a great little scrap, and I suppose it's nice not to be caught out in an incident for once.
Yeah, that was very refreshing. I almost had a scrap with, I think it was Mackenzie before. He ran a bit wide in the Redbull left-hander, the long left-hander. So it felt close at least. And then obviously me and Kevin had a pretty good battle as well. I think there was some minor car contact, but nothing major. So all good from my side at least. So that was really fun. And that race felt really good to win.
Yeah, there was some high octane stuff in that sprint race. Was there a strategy going forward for you as you were sat on the grid and found yourself in that 4-way fight, or was it just try and keep all 4 wheels on the track and not get involved in any incidents?
I mean, to start with, it was basically hopefully I finish a sprint race for once, and so I saw there was a big crash on turn 1. And somehow I managed to go around the inside of that. So that basically saved me. After that, it was pretty clean sailing. So felt good to actually finish one. It was very, very refreshing.
Yeah, well, congratulations! It was a great run of racing. Is there anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, of course. Shout out to the team and shout out to you guys for the always great broadcast.
Amazing. Well, that is Alex Johnson, your 3rd place finisher of the first race and your winner of the sprint race. Thank you, Alex, for hopping in for a little chat with us after some great racing in the Red Bull ring.
Thank you, boys. See you next week.
See you next week. Mackenzie, you've had some. We witnessed some great pace from you in both races. We'll touch on the first race though there, and it was a great little scrap you had with Solander in the Alcantech car, and you two look fairly inseparable. And I think it's a shame that the race ended as it did. But just talk us through the race you had, your strategy, and perhaps just touch on what happened at that incident you had at turn 1.
Yeah, really the strategy was see how I could do today. I was out of town and I actually just joined for 5 minutes of practice before qualifying started. So P7 was pretty good for me to start with. Just wanted to kind of run it clean for the first few laps, see how everybody was racing. And then I just started to try to push, but at the end of the day, lack of practice, I just made those mistakes. Coming out of turn 1 with Solander, just too much gas. Your car can get a little bumpy coming over that hill, and you saw it time and time again with other cars as well.
Yeah, I guess you could say in that instance it was that slight lack of practice that perhaps worked against you in that moment. But I must say, for somebody who's only jumped on for 5 minutes of practice, you were absolutely flying out there. You just had some incredible pace, and it's a shame you didn't finish on the podium in that one.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, it was a lot of fun. It's tough, when it seems like half the grid is on the same team. You can tell at times they're working together and trying to keep me behind, or keep other cars behind. And good on them for doing it. It's a good strategy. It makes it that much tougher, trying to get those clean passes. I kept finding my car on the wrong side of the track that I wanted it to be on, and I kept having to give it away. The second to last turn, I feel like I lost 2 or 3 spots just on that turn.
Yeah, well, there was definitely some great driving from your end, though. You definitely gave those Alcantech boys something to fight for. At least there was some great defensive and attacking driving from you there as well. And then race 2, of course, the sprint race, short 7-lap sprint all the way to the finish. And well, you managed to avoid the carnage at the start and work your way up into a fight with Webster and was it Webster? No, it was Aberdeen, Johnson, and Vimont as well, finishing on the podium. I think a bit of redemption for you, perhaps, in that second race.
Yeah, that felt good. Once I saw Alex and Lee pass me, I was trying to bide my time and wait until they lost momentum fighting Vermont. And look, it worked out. I knew those guys were a little bit faster than me, so I was trying to get in the podium if I could. So yeah, it was a lot of fun today. Great racing all around. It was a lot of fun racing against everybody.
Yeah, it must have been a lot of fun. It looked like fun from our perspective as well. Well, congratulations on your podium in that second race, and hopefully you can continue on some of that form as we continue on for the next couple of rounds. But is there anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
No, just huge thanks to JP Broadcasting. Love the stream. Love all you guys. You do a great job. So thanks a lot.
Well, thank you very much, sir. We do try our very, very best, but that's it. That's your lot. That's thank you, Mackenzie. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for some more racing.
Yep. See you next time. Thanks, guys.
Oh, great stuff! What an Austrian Grand Prix. Well, Australia.
Okay.
It happens too often for me, but what a set of races we've had, James.
Yeah, we definitely had. We had an interesting feature as well, and then we had a great sprint race, which probably was the best one of the series, despite the carnage at the beginning. It was great and thoroughly enjoyable, and let's see how we get on at Catalunya and see what works out there. Catalunya is a little bit more fast flowing. It's not a track that particularly I enjoy, but let's see if we can get some more cars on the track and get some great racing overall there, Kelsey.
Yeah, I'm sure we will have some great racing around Catalunya. It is one of the more classic tracks, but it's not to everybody's liking. But that's it then, folks, for this round of the championship. It's been myself and James in the booth for you this evening, bringing you all of the action that we can. Thank you to everybody in the chat, Rio and Jojo cheering on the Mecha team. And until next time, it's goodbye from myself and James, and we'll see you again soon.